Tim Gannon, one of the co-founders of the Outback Steakhouse, one of the world's most successful restaurant chains, is my next guest on the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast. Tim shares his passion for the restaurant game. He shares also what was the catalyst, the really strong reason, his purpose for getting into that game into the first place. And it's not what you would expect. He also explains how he was able to create a culture that enabled the Outback Steakhouse chain of restaurants to effectively have a mode of protection around it from being copycatted and replicated, because over 40 plus years, that has never successfully happened. He shares exactly what he did with his team of leaders to ensure that they did that. And also, Tim shares how he and his fellow directors loved their partners, the proprietors of the various restaurants in the more than 1,000 store chain that eventually got created. If you want to learn how to become a successful restaurateur and create a multi-billion dollar business, then you're going to hear the answers to those questions and much more with my next guest, Tim Gannon, co-founder of the Outback Steakhouse. Let's go.
Hi folks, welcome to the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast by Gary Ryan from Organisations That Matter. In this podcast, Gary shares everything about servant leadership, service leadership, authentic leadership, how to create high performance cultures, service excellence and life balance. Here's your host, Gary Ryan.
Hi Tim, great to have
Hi.
you on the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast. How are you doing?
Very good, Gary. How are you?
I'm going great. I've actually got two copies of your book, and one of them actually is a signed copy because you were here in Melbourne, Australia, when I got
Oh,
you to
yeah.
sign a copy. Yeah, yeah. So I got two copies. One's a clean copy with your signature, and one's one I'm writing all over. So
Okay.
we'll swing back to that soon. It's called the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast. What does moving beyond being good mean to you, Tim?
Um, Moving beyond being good, it means, um, leaving an imprint that when you walk away, people are still talking and talking about you as far as reasons to go forward, how we go forward, and you keep inspiring, although you stop talking.
Yeah, you got to keep inspiring, although you got to stop talking. That's a fantastic response, and having that impact on people without necessarily dominating the time because you're the one talking all the
Yeah.
time. It
Gary,
really
I,
means you got
I
to.
I looked at your podcast, your profile. It is very intriguing of what you do as an author, an executive coach, business achievement. I was very, very impressed, and those are all the things that I hope to start doing here in the United States after writing the book. So after this, I would love to stay in touch with you to get some inspiration from you about how to proceed and maybe help some Australian companies that would like to launch. We did a lot of work with Australian companies that wanted to make a mark in the United States. Rosemont Wine, Foster's, all the beer companies, Two E's, 4X. So we were very helpful to Australian companies, and now the meat companies especially. So I extend that we should keep in touch.
Well, that would be an honor to help you on that pathway, and thank you for recognizing the work that we're doing. In fact, that leans in directly to a couple of the questions I was hoping to ask you, which is, given that Outback scaled to over 1,000 locations globally, there's something in the DNA as a brand that your competitors have tried to copy and replicate, but they've failed for over 40 years now. And I guess for businesses here in Australia and globally that are particularly in the restaurant game, what did you intentionally design into the experience or the culture that sort of has acted as a moat around Outback Steakhouse to protect it from replication?
That's a very good question. I'll give you one example. The Bloomin Onion is not is we didn't copyright it. Anyone can try and copy it, but nobody has. Why is that? Because in the design of the kitchen, we designed to build the menu around the Bloomin Onion. And so the people that try and copy it don't have that kitchen design, nor are they willing to put the dollars in to change their kitchen to do that. And if you don't do that, you'll never be able to produce this iconic appetizer, Bloomin' Onion. The other thing that we did is, we just wanted to stay committed to who we were and to being authentic. We loved, that about Australia, their love. I think Australian people love to be genuine. They love to be authentic. And I think that those are the characteristics that we tried to imbue into the culture of Outback in America. We tried to take those things we loved about Australia, which is genuine, real hospitality. We took the proprietor's name, put it on top of the door to make him an owner. That was different in America. No one had been doing that. So we were one of the first ones to make our managers into proprietors. So the proprietor program was a very instrumental move and pivotal move for Outback to make people owners of our company, to make people that are the usually general managers, corporate people that come and go. No, these are our partners. So we got that from Australia, how they put proprietor over the doors of the bars and everything. And here's the owner. And ownership is a very important part of what made Outback work.
Yeah, one of the things that I've picked up about what you and Tim and the team did is that you might not have used this exact phrase, but you effectively loved your partners.
Yes, yes.
Symbolically putting their name on the door. What would be one other action that you folk took that indicated that you truly did love your partners?
Well, cherishing them, their name over the door, but also the investment they made into Outback. They wrote a check for $25,000. They could eventually take that 10% of cash flow, sell it back to Outback, when they retired, and get stock options that could equate to over $1 million. So we loved them and we wanted to make them rich. We wanted to share, the success of what we were doing. We wanted them to be a part when the stock was going up like crazy. We wanted them to be a part of that.
And where did the thinking come from initially for you to design the business in such a way to show that love to your partners, to respect them, and also to have that target of, if we're going to be wealthy from this, you will be too?
Where it came from is the fact that we were partners. We were general managers one day. We knew what it was like to be in that role, to know that at midnight on a Saturday night, when you're trying to go home and the plumbing breaks and you're going to be there till 2 or 3 in the morning, waiting for the plumbers to come or whatever, or, whatever you have to do for the struggles to run a restaurant. We knew that intimately because we had been there. We had been in the trenches. Most corporate executives of restaurant companies don't know what it's like to open a restaurant at 8 in the morning or close one at 2 in the morning, and what it's like when your dishwasher doesn't show up, and all of those things that happen that are normal to the restaurant. 2 people, a person choking to death, and you got to do the Heimlich method. All these things that happen left, right, coming at you. Someone got burned in the oil, whatever, frying something. The things that happen in a restaurant so quickly, and how you have to act so quickly. So that's the life of a proprietor, and we had been one, so we knew what their life was like.
And one of the things that I love about your story is the motivation that came from when you were 16, and when you went to your friend's farm and they had the Polo horses there, and his father answered a question of yours because you said, "How do I get involved with this?" And he said to you something along the lines of, "Well, son, you need to be wealthy."
Really wealthy. Not wealthy,
really
I mean
wealthy.
really wealthy.
Really wealthy, that's right. And, given you
I
ended up...
asked him, I said, listen, How do you get there? I didn't know. I had never, I had a 57 Chevrolet. I paid $600 for it to get out to El Paso. I didn't know what really wealthy meant. I had no idea. And he told me what I needed to do. And that stuck with me. And so that became part of the mantra of why to be successful. You have to have a reason. You have to have a reason to be successful. It's not, a lot of people, I'll get a home and in the suburbs, send my kids to college and do that. Those are ways and reasons to be successful. But mine was very dramatic, and very huge, obstacle to climb, a huge mountain. And I think that made my life exciting.
100%. I tell you what, folks, this is one of the reasons why you want to go and get yourself a copy of Bloomin Adventures, because all of that pre-story about that drive that Tim had that enabled Tim and the team to go through the extremely challenging times that come with creating a world-class global restaurant chain like the Outback Steakhouse. You want to understand that story. And as you've just seen, the instant passion coming out of Tim right now, that related to that story and how it really did drive you. And that's exactly right. Business owners have to have something that drives them to enable them to have the energy and passion to work through all of the challenges. Like, gosh, I've got to do a Heimlich maneuver today on a customer so they don't choke in my restaurant, right? All of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Tim, I want to thank you for your time, and I definitely will absolutely make myself available to help in any way possible.
I'm really easy. Tim Gannon at Outback.com.
Yes.
That's my email. You can reach me. Gary, I think what you do is very inspiring. I'd love to learn what you do, how you do it, and I'm going to try and be a good speaker like you one day.
You're already a great speaker. I've heard you several times. So you're doing, and because the main thing with what you do is you're authentic. The very thing that you spoke about at the start about moving beyond being good, Tim, is you're authentic. It's one of the great reasons why the Outback Steakhouse has been so successful. And clearly this next phase of your life will be equally so. Thank you for spending time chatting with us on the Moving Beyond Being Good
Gary.
podcast.
It's a real pleasure to see you and to meet you. And I hope we share a lot of good ideas together.
Let's go. Thank you once again. Thanks again, folks, for watching the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast. If you'd like to see more guests like Tim Gannon, please make sure you like and subscribe, because that helps us to get these great guests on the show. And of course, make sure that you reach out to myself if you've got any requests for business coaching, executive or leadership development. Make sure that you send us a message and I'll get back to you, or one of the team members will get back to you straight away. So once again, I'm Gary Ryan, host of the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.